Today we've jumped into F1 2020 because I would like to do a series of Hotlaps with several different teams. So I'm going to be doing a Hotlap with Mercedes, then Ferrari, then Red Bull, and then McLaren. Let's see how I do. Now off we go. Here I am in the Mercedes AMG F1 car, and I am using the controller. And it doesn't seem to feel that bad at the moment, but I know it suggested... What? Lap time invalidated because I left the track? How is that even possible? Let's try this corner again. There we go, we haven't left the track. Although this proves that it is better to have a wheel. And we have to face up against a ghost driver. Doing pretty well because the Mercedes is pretty quick. And let's hit the brakes. And it's changing gears for me, which I find easier to start with, but in the meantime I prefer to race on manual mode, so I may change this soon. What?
I'm invalidating the lap time again, this is crazy.
Now we've stayed on the track and we can activate our DRS. This is a lot better. We're doing this around the full circuit. Please don't go off track. My lap time will be invalidated and I won't be happy. And just like in the real Formula 1 season, this Mercedes is blisteringly quick. I can absolutely feel it. I'm just flying around the track. And I'm going to be setting a record-breaking lap time because I'm in the best car on the grid. We're just flying around the corner track. And wow, this is so quick and I can control it easily. And we are going to use DRS again, just down the straight. Now we've hit the corner again. And I've actually been to Silverstone in real life, so... No! We are setting purple everywhere, because we are absolutely flying. Please don't go off track, because we are going to be setting a blisteringly quick lap time. Because we are in the Mercedes. Now let's try that again. Let's see how fast we can go. We have got the fastest lap. 1:32, 1:16. New leaderboard position. There's so many players on this game that the leaderboard positions are so high. Now I'm bored of driving the best car in this game, so let's move on to someone that isn't as good. And here we are in the Ferrari on Monza in the wet. But I'm actually going to be doing some good with this Ferrari, because as we already know, the 2020 Ferrari was a very poor car from them. They only came 6th in the Constructors, and they only got 1 podium courtesy of Vettel in Turkey. And what didn't help was that just before the start of the delayed season last year, they decided to drop Vettel and replace him with Carlos Sainz Jr. for this year, which obviously knocked quite a lot of juice out of him. And we went a bit wide. Just shows you how bad this Ferrari is. It just can't handle properly in the wet. Now come on, Ferrari. I know we can do well on the hot lap. We're not in a race where we're going to be absolutely blown out of the water and spinala everywhere. We've gone purple, so that's not bad. No. We've invalidated the lap time and left the track. Let me see. Assists. Oh, we're on amateur. Now, let me change some of these assists. Because I feel like changing the gears myself. Because that's what I usually like to do in some games, whilst in others, I like to have the gears change for me. And in this type of game, I usually prefer a manual. So, braking assist, medium, anti-lock brakes on, traction control on, dynamic racing line full, dynamic racing line type 3D, gearbox. The gearbox is... I'm going to actually take the traction control off to make it realistic. Dynamic racing line, corners only, we made it too easy in the Merc. Dynamic racing line type 3D gearbox, manual and suggested gear, Pit assist on, pit release assist on, DRS assist on, fuel assist off. Oh dear, I've gone spinala. This Ferrari has gone spinala. It's gone spinala everywhere. No, just cannot control this car. Now, is this where we left the track and had to restart? I'm sure it is. And they actually turned traction control back on because it's a wet track, and traction control really does help you in the wet, because without it there is issues. And as you can see, there's no DRS in the wet because they don't have DRS in the wet in the real Formula 1, because it would be too dangerous and cars would be spinning everywhere, which we don't want a whole field of cars going spinala on the track. Now let's try turning the traction control off for the last bit. Give myself a challenge. Yes? How about that? Let's see if we can turn the traction control off and not go spinala on this corner. Now, it suggested us to go into 4th gear. Please don't go spinala. I literally had to go off the accelerator because there's a risk of the car going spinala, and I managed to correct myself. There we go. That is how you do traction control in the wet. Gone on a high leaderboard position, so we got 1 minute 37. And now here we are in Zandvoort, driving the Red Bull racing car. This car was the second best car last year, but Red Bull have made some huge strides this year compared to last year, especially as this year is going to be Honda's last in Formula 1. And how come we can't use DRS yet? This is strange, it says DRS, can't even use it yet. This is my first time driving around Zandvoort. This track was actually meant to be on the calendar last year, but unfortunately, because of COVID, it's got cancelled.
No, I left the track again.
And this is the gear that you can go spinala in, so we need to be very careful in 2nd gear. And we've mastered it this time. So we're actually going to set a time on Zandvoort. Very excited that I'm doing this track. And this track will actually be on the calendar this year, and it will be held in around August-September time, not long after the famous Belgian Grand Prix in Spa. It's going to be exciting to see Zandvoort, because the last time this track was on the calendar, it was well before my time. And why do I still not have DRS? Is the DRS in this Red Bull broken? Is it broken? And I am mastering it with traction control off. Traction control off, but I am still the master of Zandvoort in the Red Bull. And please work DRS zone. No, there's still no DRS. And we have set a 1:18. Absolutely respectable lap time. I am so confident that I can literally do it with this camera view. Let's see if I do as well. And at the moment I am, but there's just another player that I need to beat. But am I going to beat them? Probably not, because this view is a little bit trickier, and they're probably faster and have more experience than me, because I usually play arcade racing games. I need to get myself a wheel and get into some more sim racing very soon, because both have got just as much traction as each other. And now I've gotten myself ahead of the other guy, and he's in a Mercedes. Wow, a Red Bull's got ahead of a Mercedes. This is going to be one of the main features of 2021. That's back battle between Hamilton and Verstappen in Bahrain was absolutely brilliant. I would like to see more of it. I do like No, I've invalidated my lap time, so that wasn't good at all. Now we are back in the wet. We are at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in Spain, and we are doing a lap in the McLaren. And I can see that there's adverts for Lifebuoy, and so that I don't go spinala, I have decided to turn the traction control onto full, because I'm not that confident using it in the wet, because I managed to go spinala in the Ferrari. I don't want to do it in the McLaren, because there's no Vettel in here, unlike in that Ferrari. This is the car that was driven by Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz Jr. Obviously, Sainz has now taken Vettel's place at Ferrari, so Ricciardo is now at McLaren. And also, because this is a 2020 game, this McLaren is fitted with a Renault engine, and they've switched engines to Mercedes this year. Nevertheless, the McLaren was the third fastest car, well actually fourth fastest car of last year, and this one is proving really fast even in the wet, because McLaren were meant to finish fourth but they finished third. They did go ahead of Racing Points because they were deducted 15 points because Renault thought that Racing Points had plagiarised Mercedes. Well, it was a pink Mercedes, but Renault got so worked up about it that Racing Points lost some points and ended up falling behind McLaren. What is that all about? Huh? Are you going to protest against the Aston Martin because it looks the same as a Mercedes? No, I've invalidated my lap time again. Now let's try this section again. Please don't go off the track, McLaren. Please don't go off the track. Stay. Stay. There we go. We're going to set a lap time in Catalunya in the wet. Now just look at the car fly. And we are across the line. Oh yes. We've done it. Did we fall behind the Ghost? No, I think we were ahead of them. No, I fell behind them. I don't know anyway. Yes, we set a 1 minute 37. And that was an absolute bit of fun. Nice to have a bit of a change. And I did it on a controller, which makes me a pro. Thank you guys ever so much for watching. That's all we've got time for, sadly. Please make sure to pound that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Comment down below whether you want to see more F1 2020 content and whether you want to see me play F1 2021 when it comes out. And I shall see you all next time. Until then, peace.
Serious.